I pressed my ear against the cold metal door of the conference room, my heart pounding as I heard my sister's voice through the crack. Trinity's brilliant, but she's not CEO material. The company needs someone who can truly lead. The words hit me like a physical blow. My own sister, plotting to take everything I'd built. My name is Trinity, and 6 months ago, I was living my dream. I'd turned my garage coding project into a promising tech startup, bringing my sister Lila on board because that's what family does. Now I was eavesdropping outside my own conference room like some desperate spy. The board meeting's tomorrow, Lila continued. I've already spoken with most of the investors. They agree the company needs restructuring. I backed away from the door, bumping into Tabitha, my best friend and lead developer. She steadied me, concern etched across her face. You okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. Worse, I whispered, pulling her toward my office. I just heard Lila planning a hostile takeover. Tabitha's eyes widened. That's impossible. She's your sister. I sank into my chair, memories flooding back. Growing up in our cramped Bronx apartment, Lila had always been the charming one, the one who could talk her way out of anything. I was the quiet kid coding in the corner, dreaming of escape. Now, those same skills that had gotten us out were about to be used against me. Trinity, Julian, our newest investor, appeared in my doorway. Tall, polished, and carrying the kind of confidence only old money can buy. Your sister mentioned you might be free for dinner tonight to discuss the Morgan contract. I forced a smile, knowing exactly what this was. Another piece of Lila's plan. Actually, I need to finish the new security protocol tonight. Maybe next week? Julian's disappointment was visible. Lila said you might say that. She mentioned you've been distant lately. I've been busy coding the foundation of our entire platform, I said, unable to keep the edge from my voice. Someone has to do the actual work around here. After Julian left, Tabitha closed the door. What are you going to do? I turned to my computer, pulling up the company's financial reports. First, I'm going to figure out exactly what Lila's been telling the board. Then, my phone buzzed. A text from Mom. Lila says you're working too hard. Don't let ambition ruin your relationships, baby. I laughed bitterly. Even now, Mom was falling for Lila's act. Just like when we were kids, and Lila could convince her that any broken dish or missing money was my fault. You need to fight back, Tabitha said, leaning over my shoulder to look at the reports. This is your company. No, I said, an idea forming. I need to be smarter than that. Pull up the AI project we've been working on after hours. The pattern recognition algorithm? It's nowhere near ready. I started typing, my fingers flying across the keyboard. It will be. And when it is, it's going to see patterns that Lila can't hide. A knock at the door made us both jump. Lila walked in, perfect as always in her designer suit. Working late again, sis. You know, you should really let me handle more of the business side. You're so much better with the technical stuff. Our eyes met, and for a moment, I saw through her mask. The calculated ambition, the cold determination. My sister was going to try to destroy me tomorrow. You're right, I said, matching her fake smile. I should focus on what I'm good at. Lila beamed, probably thinking I was giving in. That's what I've been saying. The board meeting tomorrow will sort everything out. You'll see. After she left, Tabitha grabbed my arm. Tell me you're not giving up. I turned back to my computer, determination replacing fear. No, I'm doing exactly what she said, focusing on what I'm good at. And what I'm good at is going to expose exactly who my sister really is. The office grew quiet as night fell over the city. While Lila was probably celebrating her upcoming victory, I was laying the groundwork for her downfall. Every line of code I wrote was a promise that talent would beat charm, that truth would beat manipulation, that the sister who built something would beat the sister trying to steal it. You should go home, I told Tabitha around midnight. Tomorrow's going to be intense. She squeezed my shoulder. Want me to stay? I shook my head. I need to do this part alone. After she left, I stood at my office window, looking out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, our mom was probably proud that her ambitious daughter Lila was about to become CEO. She had no idea that her other daughter was about to teach everyone a lesson about underestimating the quiet one. I cracked my knuckles and sat back down at my computer. The board meeting was in 9 hours. Time to show my sister that some things can't be stolen. They have to be earned. The board meeting went exactly as Lila planned. I sat there, numb, as she masterfully presented her case for restructuring. Every weakness she pointed out was one she'd carefully engineered over the past months. Every solution she offered positioned her as the savior. While Trinity's technical brilliance is undeniable, she said, her voice dripping with fake concern, we need experienced leadership to take us to the next level. I opened my mouth to object, but Julian cut me off. The numbers don't lie. Our market position has weakened considerably in the last quarter. Of course it had. Because Lila had deliberately delayed 3 major client launches I'd set up. The vote was unanimous. By noon, I was no longer CEO of the company I'd built from nothing. By 1, I'd been relegated to technical advisor, stripped of any real power. By 2, Lila had moved into my office, and I was being shifted to a smaller space down the hall. This is temporary, Tabitha insisted, helping me pack my things. We'll figure something out. I picked up my favorite coffee mug, the one with lines of code printed on it. Leave it, I said, setting it back down. I'm sure our new CEO will love it. Trinity! Lila's voice rang out from my former doorway, my former office, my former everything. Can we talk privately? Tabitha squeezed my arm before leaving. The click of the door closing felt like a jail cell locking. I know you're upset, Lila started. Upset? I laughed. Why would I be upset? You only stabbed me in the back and stole my company. I didn't steal anything. The board voted after you spent months undermining me. I stepped closer, finally letting my anger show. Did you think I wouldn't notice? The delayed launches, the lost contracts, the whisper campaign about my leadership? Something flickered in Lila's eyes. Not guilt, but satisfaction. You noticed, but you couldn't stop it. That's exactly why I'm better suited for this role. You're too naive. Get out. Don't be dramatic. This is my office now. I grabbed my laptop and headed for the door. You're right, it is your office. Enjoy it while it lasts. The next few weeks were hell. I watched as Lila paraded around like a queen, making grand promises to investors and the press. But beneath the surface, things were starting to crack. Client complaints increased. Development timelines slipped. The core technology, my technology, needed updates that only I truly understood. I worked late every night, not because Lila asked me to, but because I was building something new, something secret. You should go home, Tabitha said one night, finding me still at my desk at 11 p.m. You look exhausted. I shook my head, pointing to my screen. Look at this. I found something in the financial reports. She leaned in, squinting at the numbers. These transactions, they don't make sense. Exactly. Money's moving around in weird patterns. But it's subtle, hidden under legitimate-looking transfers. You think Lila's cooking the books? I pulled up my private project, the AI I'd been developing. I think she's doing more than that, but I need proof. That's where this comes in. Tabitha's eyes widened as she read the code. This is way beyond what we were working on before. You've basically created a financial forensics AI. It's not ready yet, but when it is, the office door opened suddenly. Julian stood there, looking uncomfortable. Trinity? Lila wants the quarterly tech review by morning. The review that usually takes 2 weeks to prepare? That review? He shifted awkwardly. She says you've had plenty of time. Fine. I turned back to my screen. I'll add it to my list of impossible tasks. After he left, Tabitha sat down beside me. He knows something's wrong. I've seen him watching Lila in meetings, asking questions she can't really answer. Everyone's starting to see cracks, I said, pulling up another suspicious transaction. But seeing isn't enough. We need proof. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. Saw Lila on the business news. So proud of my girl making it big. I turned the phone face down without responding. You haven't told your mom anything, have you? Tabitha asked softly. What's to tell? That I'm such a failure I let my own sister steal my company? That everything Mom warned me about ambition ruining relationships was right, except it wasn't my ambition that did it? Tabitha grabbed my arm. Stop! You're not a failure. You're playing the long game, and you're going to win. I looked at my screen, at the patterns slowly emerging from the chaos of numbers. You know what the worst part is? Part of me still loves her. She's my sister. We survived our childhood together, but now you have to survive her. I nodded, turning back to my code. The AI was learning, growing, seeing patterns I'd only suspected. Soon it would see everything Lila was trying to hide. She thinks she won because she's smarter, I said, fingers flying across the keyboard. But she forgot one thing. What's that? I smiled grimly. In chess, the queen might be the most powerful piece, but it's the quiet pawn that can change everything. Holy shit, Tabitha whispered, staring at my screen. Trinity, are you seeing this? 3 months had passed since Lila's takeover, and my AI had finally started connecting the dots. The patterns were unmistakable. A complex web of financial transactions, each one carefully disguised, but forming a clear picture when viewed together. She's been siphoning money into offshore accounts, I said, scrolling through the data. Small amounts at first, but getting bolder. Look at this spike last week. Tabitha leaned closer. Right after the Morgan contract payment came in. But why would she? Because she knows she can't keep this up forever. I pulled up another screen. The company's fundamentals are weakening. Client satisfaction is down 40%. 3 major projects are behind schedule. She's preparing her exit strategy. The door opened, and we quickly switched screens. Julian walked in, looking more haggard than usual. Trinity, do you have a minute? Tabitha gave me a meaningful look before leaving us alone. What's wrong? I asked, though I had a pretty good idea. Julian loosened his tie. The Morgan project, it's a mess. The client's threatening to pull out. Lila keeps promising fixes, but nothing's happening. I've got millions invested in this company, and I'm starting to think. Starting to think what? He met my eyes. That I backed the wrong sister. Before I could respond, Lila's voice cut through the office. Julian, there you are! We have that dinner meeting, remember? He straightened up, professional mask back in place. Of course. Trinity, we'll continue this later. After they left, Tabitha slipped back in. Did he say what I think he said? He's starting to see through her, but we need more than suspicions. I pulled up my AI program again. We need concrete proof. Just then, my phone rang. Mom's name flashed on the screen. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. Trinity? Baby, are you okay? Lila says you've been acting strange at work. I gripped the phone tighter. Did she tell you why? She's worried about you. Says you've been distant, working odd hours. You're not still upset about the promotion, are you? Promotion? I laughed bitterly. Is that what she called it? Trinity. Mom, I have to go. I'm in the middle of something. I hung up, hands shaking. Tabitha touched my shoulder. You should tell your mom the truth. Not yet. Not until. My voice cut off as new data flashed across my screen. Wait, look at this. The AI had found something new. A pattern of deleted files, all traced back to Lila's login. But one document hadn't been completely erased. As we read it, my blood ran cold. She's planning to sell the company's core technology, Tabitha gasped, to our biggest competitor. That's why she's been moving money offshore. She's going to strip the company bare and run. I sat back, the full picture finally clear. Everything I built, she's going to destroy it all. A knock at the door made us jump. It was Julian again, but this time he looked different, determined. I left my dinner meeting early, he said, closing the door behind him. We need to talk about Lila. I studied him carefully. What about her? I've been reviewing the company's financials. Things aren't adding up. And tonight at dinner, she tried to convince me to approve a technology transfer that would essentially gut the company's IP. I glanced at my screen, then back at Julian. And what do you want me to do about it? He stepped closer. Help me stop her. I know you've been working on something. I've seen you and Tabitha here late at night. Whatever it is, if it can prove what I suspect. I shared a look with Tabitha, who nodded slightly. Sit down, I said, turning my monitor toward him. There's something you need to see. For the next hour, we showed him everything. The financial trails, the deleted files, the pattern of deception. His face grew darker with each revelation. This is incredible, he said finally. Your AI found all this? It's still learning, still finding new connections. But yes. He stood up, straightening his jacket. We need to take this to the board, immediately. Not yet, I said. We need one more piece, something even Lila can't talk her way out of. What's that? I smiled, feeling for the first time in months that I was back in control. The proof that she's planning to sell our core technology. Give me 2 days. I know exactly where to look. After Julian left, Tabitha hugged me tight. We're really doing this. Yes, I said, turning back to my computer. It's time to show my sister that some things are unforgivable. And karma's coming for her. I worked through the night, my AI searching, learning, finding. Somewhere in the building, Lila was probably sleeping peacefully, thinking she had won. But she forgot one crucial thing about me. I don't just write code. I write justice. The next morning, I arrived early to find someone waiting outside my office. Cade Johnston, one of the most respected tech veterans in the industry. My heart skipped a beat. What was he doing here? Trinity, he said, extending his hand. I've been following your work for a while. Mind if we talk? I glanced at my computer, where my AI was still running searches, then back at him. Of course, please come in. As we sat down, Lila appeared in the doorway, her face flickering with surprise, before settling into a practiced smile. Cade, I didn't know you were coming by today. This isn't an official visit, he said coolly. I'm here to speak with Trinity about her AI developments. Lila's smile tightened. As CEO, I should probably sit in. That won't be necessary, Cade cut her off. This is a technical discussion. After Lila left, clearly fuming, Cade leaned forward. Your sister's made quite a few enemies in the industry lately, especially with these rumors about selling proprietary technology. My fingers twitched toward my keyboard. What have you heard? Enough to be concerned. But that's not why I'm here. He pulled out his tablet, showing me a technical forum post. This code snippet you shared 3 months ago, it's brilliant, and I suspect it's just the surface of what you're really working on. Before I could respond, Tabitha burst in. Trinity, you need to see this. She stopped short, seeing Cade. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't. Show me, I said, nodding toward my screen. She rushed over, pulling up a series of emails my AI had uncovered. Look at this correspondence between Lila and Tech Giant's acquisition team. She's already negotiated a price for our core patents. Cade stood up, looking at the screen. This is serious. If she sells those patents, your company's finished. It's not just the patents, I said, pulling up more data. Look at these financial transfers. She's been systematically weakening the company while building her own exit strategy. How did you find all this? Cade asked, studying the patterns on screen. I hesitated, then decided to trust him. I built an AI system that can detect patterns in corporate data, financial transactions, communications, deleted files. It sees everything. His eyes widened. That's why you shared that code snippet. You were testing part of the algorithm. A knock at the door interrupted us. Julian entered, looking anxious. Trinity, we have a problem. Lila's called an emergency board meeting for tomorrow morning. What? Why? She's presenting a strategic restructuring plan. I think she's making her move. Tabitha grabbed my arm. She must know we're onto her. I turned to Cade. Why are you really here? He smiled. Because I've been watching you, Trinity, waiting to see how you'd handle this situation. You've built something remarkable, not just the AI, but the way you've approached this whole mess. The industry needs leaders like you. I'm not a leader anymore, I said bitterly. Lila made sure of that. No, he said firmly. You're exactly the kind of leader we need. Someone who builds rather than destroys. Someone who fights with intelligence rather than manipulation. Julian stepped forward. He's right, and we need to act now. The board meeting. Will be too late, I finished, an idea forming. Unless. Cade, would you be willing to help us? What do you need? I pulled up my AI's interface. How would you like to see what this system can really do? For the next few hours, we worked frantically. Cade's industry expertise helped us understand exactly what Lila was planning. Julian contacted key board members, preparing them for what was coming. Tabitha and I fine-tuned the AI, making sure every piece of evidence was irrefutable. As evening fell, Lila appeared again, her confidence clearly shaken by Cade's presence. Trinity, about tomorrow's meeting. Save it, I said, not looking up from my screen. We both know what tomorrow is about. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. You're my sister, don't forget that. I finally met her eyes. You forgot it first. After she left, Cade put a hand on my shoulder. You ready for tomorrow? I looked at my screen, where the final pieces of evidence were falling into place. I've been ready since the day she betrayed me. Julian checked his phone. Board members are confirmed for 9 a.m. No one's telling Lila they're coming early. Tabitha hugged me. We should all get some rest. Tomorrow's going to be intense. As they filed out, I stayed at my desk, watching the AI complete its final analysis. Tomorrow, Lila would walk into that boardroom thinking she was about to complete her takeover. Instead, she'd find out what happens when you underestimate the quiet one who built everything you tried to steal. Game over, sis, I whispered to my empty office. Time to face the consequences. I arrived at the office at 7 a.m., 2 hours before the board meeting. The evidence was ready, backed up in 3 different places. My hands shook slightly as I set up the presentation room. You're early, came a voice from the doorway. I turned to find Mom standing there, looking uncertain. Mom, what are you doing here? Lila called me last night, said you've been acting strange, making accusations. She's worried about you, baby. Of course she'd called Mom. One last manipulation. Did she tell you about the offshore accounts, the stolen technology, the fraud? She said you might say things like that. Mom stepped closer. Honey, maybe you need some time off. Lila says, Stop telling me what Lila says. My voice cracked. For once, just listen to me. The door opened again. Tabitha walked in, followed by Julian and Cade. Their presence gave me strength. Mrs. Murray, Cade said formally. I'm Cade Johnston. I think you should stay for this meeting. See for yourself what's really happening. Mom looked confused, but sat down. Over the next hour, board members arrived, each looking grim. At 8:55, Lila strode in, faltering slightly when she saw the packed room. I thought the meeting was at 9, she said, trying to maintain her composure. It is, Julian replied, but we had some things to discuss first. Lila's eyes darted to Mom, then back to the board. I've prepared a comprehensive restructuring plan. Before that, I interrupted, standing up. There's something the board needs to see. I pulled up my presentation. The AI's findings filled the screen. Transaction records, deleted emails, secret negotiations with competitors. With each slide, Lila's face grew paler. These documents are fake, she tried. Trinity's obviously manipulated. The AI doesn't manipulate, Cade cut in. It finds patterns, like the pattern of you systematically weakening the company while preparing to sell its core technology. Mom gasped. Lila, what is he talking about? Don't listen to them, Mom. Trinity's just jealous because... Because what? I asked quietly. Because I built something and you stole it? Because I trusted you and you betrayed me? Julian stood up. The evidence is clear. Ms. Murray has been engaging in corporate fraud, theft of intellectual property, and conspiracy to sell protected technologies to competitors. You can't prove any of this, Lila shouted, her careful mask finally cracking. I clicked to the final slide. Actually, we can. This is a recording from your meeting with Tech Giant's acquisition team yesterday. The one you didn't know was being archived by the AI. Lila's voice filled the room. Once the patents are transferred, you'll have complete control of the technology. Trinity won't be able to stop it. The offshore accounts are ready. Mom started crying. Lila rushed to her, but Mom pulled away. How could you? Mom whispered. Your own sister. I did it for us, Lila snapped. To make us rich, to get us out of that life you always complained about. Trinity doesn't understand business. She understood enough to catch you, Kate interrupted. The SEC has been notified. They're probably in the lobby right now. As if on cue, 2 federal agents entered the room. Lila's eyes went wild. She turned to me, desperation replacing her usual confidence. Trinity, please, we can fix this. We're sisters. I stood up, finally facing her directly. We stopped being sisters the day you decided to destroy everything I built. The agents moved forward. One began reading Lila her rights, while the other handcuffed her. As they led her out, she looked back one last time. Mom, tell her to stop this! But Mom just shook her head, tears streaming down her face. After Lila was gone, the room erupted in chaos. Board members talked urgently among themselves. Julian started making calls to calm investors. Mom approached me slowly. I'm so sorry, baby. I should have listened to you. It's okay, Mom. She fooled a lot of people. Cade cleared his throat. Trinity, the board would like to speak with you about the company's future. I hugged Mom quickly, then turned to face the board. The next few hours would be crucial, stabilizing the company, reassuring clients, protecting our technology. But for the first time in months, I felt ready. Tabitha squeezed my hand. You did it. We did it, I corrected her, looking at my unlikely team. Tabitha, Julian, Cade, even Mom. And we're just getting started. As I walked to the head of the table, I caught my reflection in the window. I didn't see the quiet coder anymore, or the betrayed sister. I saw someone stronger, someone who had learned that sometimes justice comes through lines of code rather than confrontation. The board chairman spoke. Trinity, we'd like to discuss your return as CEO. I sat down, ready to rebuild what Lila had tried to destroy. Let's talk about the future. The news of Lila's arrest exploded across tech media. As I walked into the office the next morning, every screen seemed to be playing the same footage. My sister being led out in handcuffs, her perfect image finally shattered. Trinity! Tabitha rushed up to my new old office, the one Lila had taken from me. You need to see this. She handed me her tablet. An email from our biggest client, the Morgan contract that Lila had nearly destroyed. In light of recent events, we'd like to reaffirm our commitment to working with the original leadership. They're staying, I breathed. Even after everything? They're not just staying. Julian appeared in the doorway. 3 more major clients called this morning. They want to expand their contracts. Turns out your reputation in the tech community means something. My phone buzzed, a text from Mom. At the courthouse, Lila's bail hearing. Do you want to come? I showed the message to Tabitha. Are you going? She asked softly. Before I could answer, Cade walked in. Sorry to interrupt, but we have a situation. The press is downstairs, demanding a statement. I can handle them, Julian offered. No, I said, standing up. It's time I faced this head on. In the elevator down, Cade briefed me. Keep it professional. Focus on the company's future, not the personal betrayal. And remember, you're not just fighting for your company now. You're fighting for every woman in tech who's been underestimated. The lobby was packed with reporters. Camera flashes burst as I approached the podium. Ms. Murray, how does it feel to take down your own sister? Was this revenge? Did you develop the AI specifically to trap Lila? I held up my hand, waiting for quiet. This isn't about revenge. It's about justice, about protecting what we built here, the technology, the jobs, the trust of our clients. Yes, Lila is my sister, but this company is my family too, and I had to protect it. More questions flew, but a commotion at the back of the room drew everyone's attention. Mom pushed through the crowd, her eyes red from crying. Trinity, she called out. The hearing. Lila wants to see you. The reporters went wild, but I stepped away from the podium, following Mom to a quiet corner. What did she say? She's scared. The judge denied bail. Something about flight risk because of the offshore accounts. She keeps saying she can explain everything. I leaned against the wall. Did she explain why she did it? Why she betrayed me? She said. Mom wiped her eyes. She said she was tired of being in your shadow, that you were always the smart one, the talented one. She wanted to prove she could be more. By destroying what I built? By controlling it. Oh, baby, I'm so sorry. I should have seen what she was doing to you. Cade appeared beside us. Trinity, the board's waiting upstairs. We need to discuss the company's direction. I hugged Mom quickly. Tell Lila, tell her I hope it was worth it. Back in the boardroom, Julian had prepared a presentation on stabilizing the company. But as he talked about damage control and PR strategies, my mind kept drifting to Lila, sitting in a cell, finally facing the consequences of her actions. Trinity? Tabitha touched my arm. They're asking about the AI system. I focused back on the room. The board members were looking at me expectantly. The pattern recognition system that caught Lila? I stood up. That was just the beginning. With proper development, it could revolutionize corporate security, financial monitoring, fraud detection. Which is why, Kate interrupted, I'd like to propose a partnership. My firm has the resources to help develop this technology properly. The board erupted in excited discussion. As they talked, my phone buzzed again. Another text from Mom. Lila's lawyer says she might make a deal. Turn evidence about corporate corruption she witnessed. What should I tell her? I showed the message to Tabitha. Even now, she's trying to manipulate the situation, Tabitha said quietly. Let her, I replied, turning back to the board discussion. The truth will come out either way. As the meeting wrapped up, Julian pulled me aside. You okay? It's been an intense few days. I looked around my office. My real office, the one I'd built this company from. You know what? I am okay. For the first time in months, everything's exactly where it should be. Except Lila. No, I said firmly. She's exactly where she should be too. Sometimes karma needs a little help from an AI system. The sun was setting over the city as I finally sat down at my desk. On my screen, the AI continued its work, finding patterns, protecting what we'd built. Lila had tried to steal my company, but she'd given me something instead. The strength to fight back, the wisdom to do it smart, and the knowledge that sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one you should fear most. The courthouse was packed for Lila's sentencing. 3 months had passed since her arrest, and the tech world was watching. I sat in the back row, Tabitha on one side, Mom on the other. The defendant will rise, the judge announced. Lila stood, wearing a plain gray suit instead of her usual designer clothes. She looked smaller somehow, her confidence stripped away by prison walls and legal proceedings. Before I deliver the sentence, the judge continued, would you like to make a statement? Lila turned, her eyes finding mine in the crowd. I want to apologize. To my sister Trinity. I thought I was proving something, but I was just destroying everything she built. Everything we could have built together. Mom squeezed my hand as Lila continued. I let ambition blind me. I forgot what it meant to be a sister. And now, her voice cracked. Now I've lost everything that actually mattered. The judge nodded gravely. While your remorse is noted, the severity of your crimes cannot be ignored. Corporate fraud, theft of intellectual property, conspiracy to sell protected technologies. I barely heard the sentence. 5 years, plus restitution. All I could see was Lila's face as reality hit her. 5 years. Our childhood together had lasted longer than she'd be in prison. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Trinity, will you rebuild the company? Aunt, any comment on your sister's sentence? Kate appeared, creating a path through the crowd. Ms. Murray has already rebuilt the company. In fact, she has an announcement to make this afternoon. In the car, Mom was quiet. Finally, she spoke. 5 years. My baby girl. She did this to herself, Mom, I said gently. She had choices. I know. Where did I go wrong with her? Tabitha, who was driving, caught my eye in the rearview mirror. You didn't go wrong. Some people just want more than they're willing to earn. Back at the office, Julian was waiting with the final contracts. Everything's ready for the announcement. The partnership with Cade's firm, the new security division, the AI licensing deals. I looked around the conference room, remembering how it all started, pressing my ear against the door, hearing Lila plot against me. Now I was about to announce something that would change the industry. The press is ready, Tabitha said, poking her head in. I straightened my jacket and walked to the podium. Camera flashes erupted as I began speaking. Today, we're announcing the launch of Guardian AI, a revolutionary system for detecting corporate fraud and protecting intellectual property. The same technology that exposed corruption in our own company will now help protect others. Questions flew from reporters. Was this inspired by your sister's crimes? How does it feel to turn a personal tragedy into a business triumph? I held up my hand. This isn't about my sister. It's about creating something positive from a negative situation, about building rather than destroying. Cade stepped forward. Our partnership will make this technology available to companies worldwide. Trinity's vision goes far beyond personal vindication. After the press conference, I found Mom sitting in my office, holding a framed photo, Lila and me as kids, grinning in our tiny Bronx apartment. She asked to see you, Mom said quietly. In prison. I sat down heavily. I don't know if I can. You don't have to decide now, but she's still your sister. Is she? Because the sister in that photo would never have tried to destroy me. A knock at the door. Tabitha with more good news. The Morgan contract just doubled. They want to be the first to implement Guardian AI. Mom stood up, kissing my cheek. I'm going to visit Lila. Want me to tell her anything? I thought about Lila in her cell, about the choices that led her there. Tell her I hope she uses these 5 years to remember who she was in that photo. After Mom left, I walked to the window. The city stretched out below, full of companies that could benefit from what we'd built. Not just the AI, but the lesson behind it. You okay? Tabitha asked softly. You know what's strange? Part of me misses her. Not who she became, but who she was. My big sister who used to protect me from playground bullies. Maybe that person's still in there somewhere. Maybe. I turned back to my desk, where the contracts waited. But right now, we have work to do. Julian appeared with champagne. Time to celebrate? Time to build, I corrected him, but I was smiling. Guardian AI is just the beginning. As we toasted our new venture, I thought about karma, about justice, about the strange paths that lead us to where we're meant to be. Leela had tried to steal my dream, but instead, she'd forced me to make it bigger. The AI hummed in the background, already protecting other companies from people like my sister. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destruction, it's creation. Building something so strong that even betrayal can't break it. The prison visiting room was colder than I expected. I sat at the metal table, watching the door, my heart pounding. I hadn't seen Lila since her sentencing 6 weeks ago. She appeared in her orange jumpsuit, thinner, her perfect hair now plain and pulled back. Our eyes met, and for a moment, we were just sisters again. You came, she said softly, sitting down. Mom said you've been asking for me. I saw you on TV. Guardian AI is everywhere now. You did it, Trin. You really did it. I studied her face, looking for signs of manipulation. But all I saw was exhaustion and something else. Pride? The company you tried to destroy is now worth 10 times what it was, I said. Ironic, isn't it? She flinched. I deserve that. I deserve all of this. She gestured at her surroundings. But that's not why I asked you here. She pulled out a worn envelope. I've been writing this letter for weeks. Everything I did, every mistake, every betrayal. But mostly why? I know why, I said. You were jealous, ambitious, greedy. No? She pushed the letter toward me. I was scared of being nothing, of being the failure sister who couldn't make it out of the Bronx on her own. You were always the smart one, the talented one. I thought if I could just take control, just prove I could run things better. You could have worked with me, Lila. We could have built it together. Tears filled her eyes. I know that now. God, I know that now. A guard approached. Time's up. Lila stood quickly. There's something else in the letter. Ideas I've had, watching the news about Guardian AI. Ways it could be expanded. Vulnerabilities I noticed from the other side. Maybe they're useful, maybe they're not. But it's all I have to offer now. I picked up the letter. Why are you doing this? Because you're my sister. And even if I can never fix what I broke, I can try to protect what you're building now. The guard led her away. I sat there, holding her letter, until Tabitha found me in the parking lot. How was it? I handed her the letter. She's given us insider knowledge of how people might try to beat the AI. Can we trust it? That's the thing. I started the car. I think we can. Back at the office, Julian and Cade were waiting with big news. The Senate committee wants you to testify about corporate fraud prevention, Julian announced. Guardian AI is becoming the gold standard. Ha, perfect timing, I said, pulling out Lila's letter. Because we're about to make it even better. We worked late into the night, incorporating Lila's insights into the system. Her suggestions were brilliant. She'd always been smart, just pointed in the wrong direction. Around midnight, Mom brought us coffee. You look happy, she said, watching me code. I am. Not because of the success, but because... I paused. Because today, I saw my sister again. The real one, not the person who betrayed me. People can change, Tabitha said, squeezing my shoulder. They can, I agreed. But more importantly, we can change how we respond to them. The next morning, I had the team gather in the conference room. Guardian AI was born from betrayal, I told them. But its future will be about prevention, not punishment. About helping people make better choices. Speaking of choices, Cade said, the Tech Industry Leadership Awards announced their shortlist. You're nominated for Innovator of the Year. I shook my head. No, we're nominated. All of us. Even Lila, in her way. Sometimes our worst moments lead us to our best innovations. That evening, I wrote my own letter to Lila. Not about business or technology, but about sisters and second chances. About how sometimes losing everything helps you find what matters. I ended it with an offer, a job waiting for her after release, using her insights to help other companies protect themselves. Not in leadership, not yet, but a chance to rebuild trust. As I sealed the envelope, Tabitha brought in a new client contract. They're calling Guardian AI the future of corporate ethics. They're wrong, I said, smiling. It's not about the AI. It's about people choosing to do better. The technology just helps them make that choice. I looked around my office, at the team that stood by me, at the company that survived betrayal, at the future we were building. Lila had tried to take everything from me, but instead, she'd helped me create something bigger than either of us. My phone buzzed. A message from the prison. Lila had already started working on more security insights. Not for redemption, she said, but because it was the right thing to do. Sometimes the happy ending isn't about forgetting the past. It's about building a better future. One line of code, one choice, one second chance at a time. I picked up my coffee mug, the one with lines of code that Lila had once tried to claim, and got back to work. There were still companies to protect, systems to build, and bridges to repair. But this time, I wasn't doing it alone.